The Boy Who Vanished in 3 Minutes, a national park mystery. There are places in this world that are achingly beautiful and deeply wild. Places like the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Millions of people visit every year to hike, to camp, to connect with nature. They leave with photographs and memories. But for one family, on a perfect summer day in 1969, the mountains didn't give back what they took. They left only a silence and a question that has echoed through the decades. This is the story of a game of hide-and-seek that went terribly wrong, and of the 6-year-old boy who walked behind a bush and vanished from the face of the earth. It was June 14th, 1969, Father's Day weekend. The Martin family, William and Clyde, along with their 2 sons, Dennis, aged 6, and Douglas, aged 9, had hiked into the park. They met up with William's father and another family for a day of fun in a grassy, high-altitude meadow known as Spence Field. Picture the scene, a picture-perfect day. The adults are relaxing and talking after a long hike. The children, full of energy, decide to play a game. The plan was simple, a classic childhood prank. The kids would split up, sneak through the rhododendron bushes that lined the clearing, and jump out to surprise the grown-ups. Douglas went one way. Dennis, his younger brother, went another. A few other children joined in. It was all just a bit of fun. The other boys circled around and successfully surprised the adults with a loud boo. They all had a good laugh. But then they looked around. Where was Dennis? His father, William Martin, called his name. Then he called it again, louder this time. There was no answer, just the rustle of the wind. Panic began to set in. He was right there. Just moments ago, he was right behind his brother, getting ready to play a prank. The area was open on one side and bordered by thick but not impassable brush on the other. He couldn't have gone far. The entire prank, from start to finish, took no more than 5 minutes. Most estimates put Dennis's time out of sight at less than 3. How far can a 6-year-old boy go in 3 minutes? What followed was one of the largest and most intense search operations in the history of the National Park Service. William Martin, a highly intelligent man, immediately began organizing a grid search. Within hours, park rangers were on the scene. As word spread, the effort exploded. Hundreds of volunteers poured in. The National Guard was activated. Even the elite Green Berets, with their specialized tracking and survival skills, were called in to help. They scoured every trail, every creek bed, every cave and overhang in a 50-square-mile area. But the mountains seemed to turn against them. A torrential downpour began that night, washing away any potential tracks and turning the temperatures dangerously cold. Visibility dropped to near zero in the thick fog. The searchers were battling the very wilderness they were trying to search. For weeks they looked. Day after day they found nothing. Not a scrap of his red shirt. Not a shoe. Not a single trace that Dennis Martin had ever been there. With one single exception. About 3 miles from where he vanished, searchers found a single clear footprint of a small crepe-soled Oxford shoe, the kind of shoe Dennis was wearing. The track led to a stream, and then it was gone. For years, the official story was that Dennis simply wandered off and tragically perished in the unforgiving wilderness. A heartbreaking but logical explanation. But there's another part of this story, a detail that was reported on the very day Dennis vanished, but was largely dismissed at the time. Another family, the Key family, had been hiking about 5 miles away from Spence Field that afternoon. They told park rangers a disturbing story. First, they heard an enormous, sickening scream echo through the woods. A short time later, they saw something that made them hurry back to their car. They saw a rough-looking man moving quickly and stealthily through the woods, trying not to be seen. He was carrying something on his shoulder, something about the size of a small child. At the time, with the search focused on a lost child, this report of a possible abduction was set aside. But the Martin family never forgot it. They believe it's the Key. They believe that in those few moments during a game of hide and seek, someone was waiting in the woods, someone who saw an opportunity and snatched their son away before anyone even knew he was gone. So what happened to Dennis Martin? 3 main theories remain. 1. He was simply a lost little boy. He wandered off, became disoriented, and succumbed to the elements, his remains scattered and hidden by the unforgiving wilderness over the last 50 years. 2. He had a tragic encounter with one of the park's wild animals, like a black bear. Though experts at the time said this was highly unlikely, and no evidence ever supported it. 3. The most chilling possibility, that the scream the Key family heard was Dennis, and that the man they saw in the woods was carrying him away to an unknown fate. That he wasn't lost, he was taken. Today, the case remains open, but cold. The Great Smoky Mountains hold their secrets close. They stand beautiful, silent, and vast. And somewhere within that silence is the answer to what happened to a 6-year-old boy who went to play a game and simply never came back. The disappearance of Dennis Martin is a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly things can change. What do you think happened on that day in 1969? Share your respectful thoughts in the comments below. And if you find these unsolved mysteries as compelling as I do, consider subscribing for more campfire stories from the shadows.